I recently had a question asking me to talk a little bit more about BPD and jealousy. Now, this is a extremely common trait for BPD people, and I will say that personally, suffering from BPD, despite being in remission, I have always suffered from the jealousy aspect of this. I still, to this day, it is a huge trigger for me. Huge. I have a plethora of stories about how jealousy has impacted my life personally, not just from a romantic perspective, but also in my family and in my peer relationships with my friends, at work, whatever, okay? So it knows no bounds. It really doesn't. And it's extremely hard to get ahead of. What we have to understand here is that the scope is very small when we're affected by the jealousy condition. What I mean by that is, when you start to feel these jealous emotions, my partner's talking positively about somebody else, my coworker got praised at work, my uncle said something favorable about my sister and didn't even mention me, when we start to feel these things, especially in our romantic relationships, it's a small sphere, guys. It's very tiny. My wife, for example, is friends with one of her exes. This is a huge deal for me. It's always been a problem. Even though, it's totally platonic, there's nothing to worry about. I like the guy. We're even friends. It's not a big deal, right? But I still suffer pain from it, because my brain starts flashing all of these things in my head about, how she used to be with this guy. She used to hang out with him. She used to, share memories with him, experiences. And now we're all hanging out together, and that drives me mad sometimes. But I can't let the trigger develop into a symptom. I can't let it develop. That's the key here. You got to get ahead of it developing. And that could be extremely difficult. Really hard. But realizing that there's different spheres here. There's my sphere of what I'm experiencing. There's her sphere of what's her, experience is. And then there's his sphere too. And then there's how they all relate. And then there's the sphere of the world. Who really cares about this other than us three, right? Who cares? Nobody cares. He wants to be friends with her because she's awesome. She wants to be friends with him because he's a good friend. I want them both to be happy. So there's a commonality there. And finding the common link will help you get ahead of the jealousy. I'll tell you that much too. So you need to start having empathy for what the other people in the situation are thinking. And that could be very difficult, but once you start doing it, I promise it'll get easier.